You hear me, Rana?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Wake up, everybody. We are here. My name is Tara Gibson, aka TJ Vida, and I am here to present to you Navigating Life with Epilepsy. I have a guest speaker today by the name of Alejandro Urrutia, and he is going to be speaking on his life living with epilepsy and exactly how the title says, Navigating Life with Epilepsy. And we are in November, which is Epilepsy Awareness Month. So please grab your coffee if you want to take notes. We have a lot to present to you, a lot of valuable information. And bring your positive vibes. It's Sunday morning, and let's learn together and get aware.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alejandro Urrutia. Good morning. Buenos dias. I'm glad everyone's here joining me so I can share my story, my life, my journey with epilepsy, my fights, my struggles. We're here to try to find the cure, different ways, the history. You'll learn so much here about epilepsy. Thank you, everyone. Get your coffee, get ready, and join me navigating life with epilepsy.
Chantel, would you like to come in and speak on some important information that the community needs to know about before we start?
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you both for joining us and welcome Alejandro to the Wake Up Everybody community. We've been here for 5 years, and within those 5 years, we've had an amazing community, valued community member, beloved member, Teresa Scott, who was with us from the beginning and transitioned last week, I think on Friday evening. And we wanted to share, in case everyone is not aware, that Teresa Scott transitioned last week. She was in the hospital, and our other beloved member, Z, informed us, and she was also there caring for her, covering her, letting us know updates and how she was doing. And we just wanted to, one, acknowledge that Teresa has transitioned and how much we love her and cared for her and all of our WOO members, community members, but wanted to share that information and let you all know that after this session, we will be holding space for the community to come together and receive covering, nourishment, and breathing yoga support from Stacy, just to help us as we process this information. It's been hard this weekend for a lot of us, and we want to take some time to provide you with some resources and support as we all go through this together as a community and a family, extended family with each other. And I'm complete. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're very welcome. And I want to send my condolences to the family and friends and everyone on the Wake Up Everybody network that, is suffering the loss of Teresa. I haven't had the privilege of meeting her or speaking with her, but I did see that she passed, and, I just want to send my condolences to everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yes, my deepest condolences. I know how painful it is to lose somebody, and it's hard, and especially anyone dealing with epilepsy. And I've known several people who passed away from epilepsy, and my deepest condolences, and my prayers are with you and your family.
Thank you so much. All right.
Oh, okay, so let's get started. I hope everybody is ready for a good hour and a half of information, and, hopefully you can relate to this in a positive way and, help someone else if you do know someone with epilepsy. So let's get started.
Yes. Yeah. So my journey.
So we're gonna play the song first, Alejandro.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning, we're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tara Gibson, aka TJ Vida, and I am founder of Seize the Cure for Epilepsy. I am also a recording artist, which is where the TJ Vida name comes from. And I do a lot of things, but today I want to focus on my organization, which is called Seize the Cure for Epilepsy. And I started this organization in 2017, never expecting it to grow to this point. I've had about 10 major events in the Bronx, and Seize the Cure has become the representation of the Bronx in spreading epilepsy awareness. And now, in addition, I've included seizure safety awareness. I started this because, just to recap, I started this because I myself have epilepsy and a long story behind having it. But what inspired me was what I went through as a mother with my son who has refractory epilepsy. And I've learned so much in my journey. And this has been my calling. This has become my purpose because I took what was considered at one point for me, a traumatic experience, a very long traumatic experience. I've turned it into good to help other people. I am recognized and under the umbrella of the Epilepsy Foundation of Metropolitan New York. And we are in November, which not only is the season of holiday starting, but it's Epilepsy Awareness Month. So what I am doing to give light to epilepsy and seizure safety awareness is I have met wonderful people along the way of advocating for epilepsy awareness. And I have, at my events, I always have vendors, I have guest speakers, I have doctors that come out. We had an event, our last event was June 28th. And usually my testimonial speakers, they get about 5 minutes to speak, but they have so much information to offer on their personal journey and how they have taken their passion as well as their abilities and skills and applied it to having epilepsy to, advocate and have a better cause for themselves. So what I am doing for the whole month of November, I've been on the Wake Up Everybody Network sporadically speaking about epilepsy. This month, being that it's Epilepsy Awareness Month, every Sunday I am going to have a different guest come on that has been a part of my events, that has been a part of advocating for epilepsy. And they're going to have the platform to speak about their journey and educate. And the beautiful thing about this is every guest that I have has a different form of epilepsy. Epilepsy is not a universal thing for everybody. There's different triggers, different causes, different types of epilepsy. So every Sunday, you're going to get, a different form of awareness and how broad epilepsy is. And not only epilepsy, seizure safety, because that is a major, major issue that we have in the community. And I just want to give, before I introduce my guest for today, I just want to give some facts on epilepsy as well as seizure safety awareness. So epilepsy is a neurological disorder characterized by recurrent unprovoked seizures caused by abnormal electrical activity in the brain. And it is the fourth most common neurological disorder. There are many conditions out there that are associated with epilepsy, autism being one, diabetes. The list goes on and on. This show is not for me to give specific facts on all that, but I just want to throw out there what epilepsy is and how serious and common it is. Up to 50,000 deaths occur annually in the US from seizure-related causes. And meaning you do not have to have epilepsy to have seizures. And this is very important because this is why the awareness is so important. And of course, what are some of the reasons that someone can have a seizure without having epilepsy? Head injuries, high temperatures, strokes, stress-related severe stress, which is called psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. They look just like seizures, but they are caused by stress. Substance abuse or withdrawal from substance abuse, as well as withdrawal from medications. And there are many medications that one of the side effects are seizures. And then we have diabetes and low blood sugars or high blood sugars. So it's very important that the community is aware, not just about epilepsy, but about seizures and what to do when someone's having a seizure, because there were many times I almost lost my son. And it's not only a life-changing condition, but it's life-threatening. So with that being said, one of the connections that I made throughout my journey was with my special guest who has a very, very informative story. And he's been through a lot, but he advocates and he's done the same thing. He's taken a negative situation and turned it for positive. So I want to introduce Alejandro Urrutia to the show.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alejandro Urrutia.
I'm sorry, Alejandro. You can move to the next slide. I'm sorry. I just noticed we're on the same slide. Okay. So just real quick, I pretty much said this already, but this is the Seize the Cure mission statement. I've incorporated music into my organization because music is therapy and I am a recording artist. So when I formed Seize the Cure, I incorporated music as part of advocacy. You can move to the next slide, please. And these are just all the programs that Seize the Cure offers. I'm going to be starting the Seize the Cure radio back. I'm not exactly sure when, but it will be in the new year. We hold workshops, support groups, and concerts and forums, mainly in the Bronx, but we have done them past the Bronx as well. You can move to the next slide, please. Okay, there you go. So you can play the video for Alejandro. Okay, so Alejandro, you can start speaking and let everyone know about you and your journey.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
My name is Alejandro Urrutia, and my journey with epilepsy, it has took so much away from me, but it also has given me so much more. In the slides, the first picture, it's of me recovering after my temporal lobe surgery. I had temporal lobe epilepsy, and it's very common. It's 60% of people with epilepsy have temporal lobe. And when I say I had, is because I've taken it away from me. You know, from this has worked for me. I do a lot of hiking. I have a hiking club, the Serenity Hiking Club. It's on Facebook. Nature has helped me so much. I believe nature has helped me because mountains, rivers, oceans, woods, that's all God made. And God has given that for us. He has given that for us to feel, to enjoy. And it helped me so much. You know, epilepsy has made me a better father, a better man, more responsible. And it basically made me become a better adult. You know, my first experience with epilepsy, well, I thought it was in 2008. But when I look back at it, I was dealing with epilepsy since I was a kid. You know, I remember being in my aunt, my tita Anita's house, and she woke me up. And I used to sleepwalk a lot. And she woke me up and she goes, "Is everything okay, Alejandro?" And, you know, I urinated on the bed. And when I think about it now, I was having seizures. So when I started looking back at epilepsy, you know, this is documented. Epilepsy has been happening since ancient times and Middle Ages. You know, that's amazing. You know, for all these things to be happening and to not being acknowledged enough. So I started thinking, like, how can I heal myself? How can I change me as a person? I started reinventing myself. That's the key. That's one of the hardest things anybody can do, is reinvent yourself. And I continue to reinvent myself. I don't smoke. I don't drink. You know, everything to me is my sons getting better, becoming a better man every single day. Now, when I had a surgery, I was a perfect candidate for temporal lobe surgery. My seizures were coming from the left side. Whatever's in the left controls the right. So I have my entire temporal lobe removed. I had to be up for the surgery. It was probably the most terrifying thing in my life. I had to be up for the surgery so they won't damage my speech. And I remember feeling like I felt rejuvenated to have that taken out. And my neurologist is amazed today. I had a fantastic neurologist at Montefiore. And basically, he was like, "I don't know how you function without a temporal lobe." Now, this is a true story. I didn't know, actually, I didn't realize years and years I was missing a temporal lobe. I had a CAT scan, and the CAT scan tech comes up to me. He goes, "You know, you're missing a whole part of your brain, right?" I said, yeah, I know. But I didn't realize. I just like forgot about it. I didn't give it power. I really don't think too much of what I'm going through because I just want to continue living. And I don't want to go through that. I don't wish seizures, epilepsy on anyone. It's the most terrifying thing that you can go through. And I realize how special, how much God has given me when I realize I'm functioning. I'm going to work every day. I'm doing these things, guiding people, hiking. And I believe he gave me this so I can be a leader. But when it comes to epilepsy, I had my theories. Now hear me out about these theories. Epilepsy are basically electrical hurricanes happening in your brain. So the lights in your house, any type of energy, what do you need for that energy to flow? A conductor. What is life made of? Energy. Too much energy in the world, what will happen? The world will literally pop. So what do you need for all this energy to be controlled? A conductor. So possibly, now this is my theory and what worked for me. Possibly people with epilepsy are the conductors of the world. Energy needs to flow through something. And that's my theory. But why can it not be true? For something that's been around since ancient times. And the first documented seizure, and you can look this up, was documented in Akkadian tablet in Mesopotamian times. They called it the falling sickness.
Mhm.
So something that doesn't have a cure. Why can't these theories be correct? Anyone's theories. But then what worked for me is natural nature. I feel so better. I feel reborn when I'm walking. Even when I take people hiking, they feel absolutely great. You're absorbing all that natural energy. You know, I stopped taking medication for a very, very, very long time. I tried all medications. My neurologist put me on everything: Keppra, Tegretol. I started with Dilantin, carbamazepine. But with carbamazepine, side effects, weight gain. Pay attention to the side effects. You always have to ask your neurologist, what are the side effects? And sometimes, you know, when you're going through epilepsy, you want a cure. You want to feel normal. You don't want to go through this. So we forget sometimes to ask. Keppra was a tough medication for me.
I wanted to ask you about, I have a few questions actually, but now that you say that, I hear a lot about Keppra and the side effects. What were some of your side effects that you had?
I was extremely irritable. And when I was taking Keppra, my position in the hospital was a dispatcher. So I was dealing with 4 different hospitals, over 100 phone calls in an hour. So feeling irritable and all those phone calls, I realized I had to ask my neurologist. I was like, this is not me. I was slamming the phone down. I was like, I can't take this. What is going on? I remember one time I dropped to my knees and I said, God, please, please, God, what is going on with me? And my neurologist, you know, nice and smooth, great neurologist, but he goes, yeah, you know, it can make you a little irritable. And I was like, thanks for telling me that. And, you know, your neurologist will always change up. A good neurologist will ask you, right, this is not working for you. Let's switch it up.
Mhm.
And if you have been seizure free for a certain amount of time, eventually your neurologist would try to take you off the medication little by lower dosages. And that's always a neurologist. It should be a neurologist's goal. So when I go with reinventing, I changed my life. I made my circle extremely small. You know, whoever's my friends have been in my circle for over 20 years. I sacrificed a lot by not drinking. I do not smoke. You know, I don't put myself in those certain atmospheres. And I just, you know, it helped me. It just helped me so much. And I feel great. I wake up every morning. It's a natural high of feeling happy. And I realize you are the most richest person in the world when you have health. Health is wealth. You know, and I felt reborn.
I have a few questions, Alejandro, before we get into the details of the result of what you've been through. What did your seizures look like? Did anybody ever witness them and able to tell you, or did you feel them yourself?
Yes, I went through several different types.
Okay.
When I was having my auras and I was with my friends, one of my friends, he used to be like, "Oh, are you going through that?" And I didn't know what it was, so I used to call it a feeling. I said, "I'm having that feeling again. I'm having that feeling." And I used to get a feeling of I was terrified. I didn't know what it was, but I was terrified. I was scared. Then I used to hear a noise. Noise like bing.
That nobody else heard.
No.
Okay.
And that's trippy. You go through something that only you're hearing. So it's but when I had a grand mal seizure, I knew what it was. And I remember laying on the bed and I woke up and ambulance workers were trying to wake me up. And they was like, listen, you had a seizure. But my first seizure was at my job in a nursing home when I was about 19 years old. I went into the bathroom. I hit my head on the toilet, but lucky for me, I have a very hard head, and I had a towel mark on my forehead. And that's when I was brought to Montefiore and I was introduced to my neurologist that he's still my neurologist today. But what a journey, being sleep deprived, trying to bring out that seizure so they can see where it's coming from. And to this day, I'm very careful, extremely careful. When I take a shower, I give myself about a 4-minute time limit because
Why is that?
Well, I've been seizure free for a while, a few years, but just in case, if I do get one, I don't put myself in a situation that I fall and hit my head. When I take the train, I stand in the middle of the platform. It's always with me, and I don't drive.
And how long have you been seizure free? About
I'm going to say 3 years.
3 years. Okay. So you don't drive because just out of precaution?
Out of precaution of, it's not about me. I don't want to hurt anyone else.
Okay.
Especially my family, anyone in the car with me.
And my other question is, I asked about the bathroom because I've had a number of with my son. The bathroom has been such at the time there was a time that he had a seizure in the tub and the knobs went through his stomach, the shower knobs. And then it was such an issue because he's very tall and he was at that time like a football weight, and when he sees in the bathroom, I couldn't get in because the door would not go in. So there was times we had to break the door down just to get to him. I was wondering, I have a few questions with the bathroom first. You said that you hit your head on the toilet.
Yes.
Now, did that happen because you were having a seizure, or is that where your seizures came from, your epilepsy, from a head injury on the toilet?
No, when I was having the seizure, that was the first time that I actually experienced a full seizure.
Okay.
And it was shocking because that's when I was in a nursing home and I was working for Archdiocese. So the nuns were surrounding me and it was like, listen, you had a seizure. And I was like, I don't have, I told them, I don't have seizures. I don't know what you're talking about. And that was the journey. That's when my journey started. And I'm so lucky hitting my head and that towel mark on my forehead. God bless my German father because, he gave me an extremely hard head. That was terrifying for me. And to this day.
When were you diagnosed with epilepsy?
In 2000, I'm going to say 2007, I believe, because I know my surgery was in 2009.
How old were you at that time when you were diagnosed?
27.
27. And you had your first grand mal when?
In 2000, I believe I was working in nursing home 2003. I'm going to say 2003 to 2005 because
Okay, so I see. Okay. I'm asking these questions because I've had, sessions before this where it's so much information that I give and people had so many questions on, the different scenarios and how things work. So I was just trying to get like a timeline. You were diagnosed after your first grand mal.
yes.
Okay, got it. And you were on a lot of medications before they had you as a candidate for surgery.
Yes. They started me with Dilantin
Okay.
and I was falling asleep everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was like everywhere falling asleep. And I was like, this is not working for me. I can't do it. And I think the next one was Tegretol. Then after Tegretol was Keppra. Then after Keppra was carbamazepine. One good epilepsy medication I would probably say would be lacosamide.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, lacosamide. There's no weight gain side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And with carbamazepine, it was good, but then that weight gain side effects, I mean, I was blowing up. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I don't eat much. I'm always hiking. And it makes you a little off balance.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an amazing journey. And like I sacrificed a lot of things. Driving. Because I want to live. And one thing about seizures, what's strange about them is they can come like a thief in the night. So I'm very, very careful. I do not eat anything spicy.
Is that a trigger for you, the spicy food?
Yeah, and also it's triggers for some people. So I feel like if it's a trigger for some people, why not? It cannot be a trigger for me.
Mm-hmm.
Things with epilepsy, you think one thing's a trigger, and then it happens, and you're trying to figure out what did you do wrong. Because I remember when I used to have a seizure, and I used to feel so disappointed. I was so disappointed in myself. I was like, oh man, and I felt like I let myself down. I let
Mm-hmm.
Other people down. It was it's tough.
It's very interesting because you're saying certain things that I can not relate to personally because I haven't had a grand mal in a very long time. But I do, and for those who don't know, a grand mal is a convulsion. That's where you're unconscious, body violent body shaking, foaming at the mouth, eyes rolling behind the head. Seizures could last anywhere between a few seconds to a few minutes. And if it goes past 5 minutes, they say call 911. I say call 911 regardless, because if you wait till the 5 minute mark, by the time 911 gets to you from that call, you're looking at possible brain damage, or death. So I haven't had one in a very, very long time, but I do know my triggers. I do know that if I go a long period of time where I'm not sleeping well, and I have insomnia, mind you, but it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better with, thank God. But if I'm really stressed out and I'm the kind of person that I keep going and I kind of throw my stress behind me and don't think about it, and then it kind of creeps up. Pretty much the unconscious factors that will trigger one for me. So I am very careful with my triggers as well, as you were saying. The thing with epilepsy is your triggers could change at any point because your body is consistently changing. You have women, for example, our bodies go through a lot of changes between puberty, between pregnancy, menopause. I know women that their seizures started back because they started going through menopause. So your triggers change over time, which is why I say that, because you said that even though you've been seizure free for 3 years, And every state's laws are different when it comes to driving. You're still taking that extra precaution because you know seizures could come back at any time. There have been people who have been seizure free for 10, 15, 20 years, and next thing you know, their seizures return. So I could imagine, as especially for men, having to fall back on that role of being fully independent, and driving is a hard one. I do commend you for taking those extra precautions because, like you said, it's not just about you, it's about other people. And you have people that will get behind the wheel knowing what they have. And that, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me here. Ego, is it?
Yeah.
Just,
Ego,
yeah.
narcissism. It's a lot of things. And I humbled myself a long time ago and realized that, it's not about me. It's not all about me. Me working in the hospital has, I've seen so much. And one thing, I have a question to ask you.
Mhm.
Have you ever caught a seizure or auras around a certain person? Now, that used to happen to me. I used to have certain auras around certain people. One guy I used to, every time he spoke, I used to have an aura. And I was able to hide my auras. It was part of my life. I was able to hide my auras. And one thing I caught myself when I was having auras, I used to put my hands in my pockets. I always put my hands in my pockets. And I started believing, like, maybe because that's part of the sound. Maybe the different volumes of people's voices. I got so interested in learning more about epilepsy. It goes deep. For something that's
Where your epilepsy came from?
the temporal lobe.
No, but like, was it genetic, or was it from an injury? Like, do they know why you have it?
No, they have never, ever been able to. Matter of fact, my neurologist told me a scar tissue.
In the brain?
Yeah. But my father had Parkinson's.
Mm-hmm.
And the same age he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, around the same time I was diagnosed with epilepsy.
Okay. Interesting.
But I was thinking, when in one verse in the Bible, in Psalms 109,
Mm-hmm.
we inherit our father's sins. And also in sociology, when I went back to college, I had this fantastic sociology professor. And she told me, we don't inherit looks. Sometimes we inherit habits and traits. So I was like, huh. And I was like, maybe because we live our parents' life. Sometimes in a different way, but we're living it. And if you catch it, you can change it.
That's very interesting you said that. I was just having a conversation with my other half the other day about habits being passed down from our parents, and you said the father. And I actually didn't know that, but now that you asked me about aura, before I even answer that question, we do have a few comments in the chat as well as a question. So, good morning. I'm sorry, my vision. Pro Maryland DJ, good morning. Thank you for acknowledging our session. Grand Rising Royal Family. Mother Nature knows what's best for her family. Very true. Self-preservation, demanding privacy. I'm interested to know what you mean by demanding privacy, that comment, if you don't mind elaborating. And then Zakaya Talibe, good morning. Thank you for being here. She's asking about what is an aura. Do you want to answer that, Alejandro?
Well, aura is basically a spider sense. That's the best way I can explain it. You get this feeling. You can feel the seizure coming upon you. You can sometimes the aura is a smell, a sound, a feeling. When it started with me, it was a feeling of just being terrified. And then you go through fight or flight. Sometimes I remember I was in a friend's car and I was having an aura, and I said, keep it very secret. I was very quiet about it. I got out the car and just left. That's the flight part. You know, sometimes the fight part is sometimes when people get out of a seizure, they get very aggressive because they don't know what's happening. You know, me working in the emergency room, I have to sometimes hold a lot, but it shows me how much more we have to advocate. I remember somebody came in, had a big seizure, and she woke up and she threw a cup of water at a nurse. And what the nurse did, the nurse called she called the police. And she wanted to basically press, charges. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But it showed me how much people just don't understand.
They don't know.
You know, when I would wake up from a seizure, I'm like, whoa. But sometimes I remember when I had the big seizure, the second one, I said, I had a seizure, right? And I went, damn. And I was just like so disappointed. But I started replaying everything I did wrong. What could I have did wrong that caused this? I don't drink energy drinks. No way. No energy drinks. That will, even if no pre-workout, if my natural energy is coffee. So basically, to answer the question, speaking of coffee, I had 2 cups. So that's why I'm just going and going and going.
Do you drink Bustelo?
Yes. But,
there you go.
but to
I
answer,
want to piggyback off what you were saying about aura to answer the question further. For me, I was saying earlier that I tend to, if I lose sleep, if I'm stressed out, those are my biggest triggers: stress and sleep. Stress I can't seem to get away from, but once it gets to a certain point, it's a huge trigger. What happens with me is I will sometimes a couple of weeks before I've had my seizures, I start smelling something that no one else smells. And what happened also is I'll start seeing colored spots, like just little colors going all around. And obviously they're not real, but I see them. And that's kind of what an aura is. Sometimes your vision or your hearing, your senses, that's the best way for me to put it. Your senses are going off and they're giving you a sign that only you're feeling, seeing, tasting, hearing, or your body will feel. Now, some people get auras before their seizures. Some people don't. Some people get both. For example, my son, there's times that he felt it coming a second before he would drop and convulse. There are other times that he can just be standing and talking to you and he would just drop. There was no feeling. The times that he did feel a seizure was coming, his aura was, he said he feels like a tingling in his head, and it's usually something that can't really be explained. And unless you know what it is or you can relate to it, it's very hard for you to understand, but that's the best way for us to put what an aura is. We have another comment. Laura Clark, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I've worked in long-term care and witnessed a resident who always knew when she was getting a seizure and needed to go to the ER based on her aura. She would get very anxious. Yeah, the injuries that come with seizures are the biggest problem. Getting to know your body is crucial. Getting to know your triggers are crucial. But the location of where you are, which is when you said, Alejandro, that you don't stand next to the platform on a train, in the train station, that's the smartest thing you could do. But some people just don't, it's like you have to kind of reroute your life, navigate, as we call this session. You have to navigate your own self. What are the possibilities from this? And I'm not sure, Laura, if when she went to the ER, did they take her seriously, or did they even help her? Did she actually have a seizure while she was in the ER? Because that is if you're prone to injury with your seizures, or if you're prone to having long seizures, the longer the seizure, the more effect it is on the brain. It's a smart move. Anxiety I do know that I was always told with my son, you don't have to call the ambulance unless it hits 5 minutes, which I was saying earlier. I knew his seizures were very sporadic, and sometimes his seizures can be not only long, but very traumatic on his body. And yes, there were times that he never got violent, but he didn't know what was going on. And when a person has a seizure, you're supposed to keep them down. So him being 6 feet at the time, 200 and something pounds, I'm trying to manage him myself, and I'm not big. That's hard because the person having the seizure, their body is like triple the weight. So keeping them down and safe is very hard because they don't know what's going on, even if you tell them. And you have to physically manage them. So in reference to Laura, what you were saying, if that puts comfort to her in going to the hospital before she knew a seizure was coming, that's actually a responsible thing, because the anxiety will make the seizure worse. Thank you for sharing that. Florence, I am aware of information that tells us that almost every disease has a metabolic source, including neurological diseases. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, Zakai, to go back on the what is an aura, please. For anyone in the chat now that has never had a seizure, have you ever had deja vu?
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
I get that.
So a lot of people that don't think that they have seizures, deja vu, and you can look this up, to have time to look it up now. It's a partial seizure from the temporal lobe that hasn't manifest to a big one.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. And you have noticed that's what an aura feels like. It's a form of an aura. You know, when you have a deja vu, you're a little bit disoriented for a quick second. And it's like an outer body experience.
Mm-hmm.
But deja vu is a partial seizure from the temporal lobe. It's very, very common, but I don't have deja vu anymore. Could be that maybe I don't, because I don't have a temporal lobe. But I feel that, what I went through, it spiritually brought me closer to God, to my surroundings. It made me a better man, 100%. So I don't regret what I went through. I feel like I had to go through this journey to become the person I am now. I'm a single father. One of my sons is 25. He has a great career. My other son is 19. He's in college, full scholarship. So I feel like maybe possibly this is something that I had to go through. I was chosen to go through this. And it's I feel like I'm handling it pretty well. I also don't try to like that song, Now You're Just Somebody I Used to Know. I try not to think much of it. I basically don't tell a lot of people what I'm going through, especially at work. I'm going to tell a quick story. and this is a true story. One of my mentors, and I have to say this too, it's very important to have a mentor. Him and his wife was saving money to buy a house, and they were saving and saving. Their best friend was their next door neighbor. They bought the house. Everything was a disaster. The loan didn't go through. It was just, they had to stay back in the apartment. The best friend comes over and tells them, "Oh my God, I prayed every single day that you wouldn't leave me, that you wouldn't leave." So unconsciously, she wished bad on him, that they wouldn't get that home. So you have people there unconsciously unwilling, wishing bad on you. For example, somebody praying, I just don't, bringing life to that seizure, bringing life to epilepsy to me. I totally erased it out of my life. I get up in the morning, first thing before my feet hit the ground, I thank God for another day. That's the first thing before my feet hit the ground. And it's also very important to know how to pray. Very important. It's not that easy. When I start, God, thank you for your blessings in the name of Jesus. I'm not going to go too much into religion right now, but people unconsciously could wish bad on you and not knowing that they're wishing bad on you. You can see smiles, but you cannot see hearts. Always remember that. So I kind of keep it quiet when it comes to certain people. I feel them out. And the number one, anyone suffering from seizures, the number one thing they want to do is feel normal. Feel normal. And then you go through ups and downs. So in that process of feeling normal and doing everyday things, people forget what you're going through in family. And sometimes it can go years and years and years without a family member calling you saying, "Hey, how you feeling?" Because they forget too. I go through that. But then you're like, you know what? Maybe I don't want those blessings because God is blessing me. I know who I am as a person. And that's very important to know who you are as a person. And like I said prior, reinvent yourself. Continue to reinvent. You do think the way God will think, and you will always be okay. Always remember that. Think the way God will think. And you will always, always be okay.
I have a few questions.
Yes.
My first question, before we go into the 8 o'clock hour, your sons, you said one is 25 and how old is the other one?
19.
19. Have they had any signs of having epilepsy or any seizures?
No.
Okay. That's great. That's great.
No signs. Well, my oldest one is 25 and my youngest one is 19.
Mhm.
Around that age in my 20s, that's when I realized. But when I look back, I remember in high school hanging out with my friends. And I remember I went to high school in Brooklyn and we were going down the Bedford Avenue train station in Williamsburg. And I told my friends, one of my friends, Ricardo, I said, "You hear that? You hear that?" And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And he starts laughing. I say, "No, seriously, do you hear that?" And I was hearing that. And I just brushed it off. So when you think back, it was always there. We just don't realize.
Just don't realize it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I have some more questions and there are some more comments, but before we go into that, it's 7:57, the 8 o'clock hour is, so there's going to be a transition, people going to church or work. or whatever, festivities that you're engaging in on this beautiful Sunday. At least beautiful here in Florida, but I don't know if it is in New York. How's the weather over there?
It's good. It's nice and breezy.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
us in New York, we call it hoodie weather.
yeah. I don't miss that. But back then again, I've had to wear a sweater the past couple of days here. So, and I think the clock went back last night, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we gained an extra hour. All right, so I want let me just read the comment because I really want to ask more questions, but I don't want to cut into the time for the 8 o'clock hour. So my vision, Lord have mercy. Zakaya Talib again. Thank you, beloved. I'm aware of energetic auras. It sounds like these epileptic auras are different. Yes, every person is different. Their auras are different. Every seizure has different auras for the same person sometimes. So it's a case by case situation, and the auras can change just like your seizures can change. When you have epilepsy, you may have, with me, I was diagnosed with absence seizures, which are petit mal, which kind of what it looks like is daydreaming. But you literally freeze in the middle of a sentence sometimes, or you miss somebody may be looking at you and you think they're processing what you're saying, but they're not. They're in, as they say, another world at that moment. So I started with that. And then I started convulsing. My first convulsion was when I was 17. Um, and interestingly, I asked you about your sons, Alejandro, because with my father had epilepsy, but he got his from an accident, head trauma. So it's not genetic when you think about it. Because he got his from a trauma. It wasn't like he was born with it. And then with me, I was born with it. So it's very interesting. I'm not going to get into my whole backstory, but I asked that because a lot of people ask that question of, is it genetic? Is it, honestly speaking, they don't know. It can be. It's every case by case situation. Epilepsy is underfunded. They still haven't found the answers. And it's 8 o'clock. Before I continue, for anyone that has to leave this session and go about your day, thank you for joining. I hope you gained something within this hour from what we're speaking about. We're going to be here every Sunday for the month of November with more guests and more information and testimonies. So I hope you have a great day, and come back next Sunday if you can.
Yes.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak on the transition part of that morning, or can we continue? Give me a thumbs up, or I'm just going to keep going. Okay, so let's just keep going. Go ahead, Alejandro.
Anyone who's feeling down about having epilepsy in a world with so many similarities, remember, we're still part of the unsolved. We're the different ones. We are the conductors. And I try to think positive for everything. And for me to be part of the unsolved, it's amazing. We're still part of, people trying to figure it out. I have this aunt, my tita Anita. I love her. God bless her. But sometimes family forgets what you're going through. And, when I do talk about it, because sometimes you want to scream in the air, look, this is what I'm going through. And, they will say things like, wow, are you sure? Or, it's, or maybe you just need to get rest, or they forget. But after my brain surgery, I remember my aunt go up to my mother and say, wow, why we never heard of or him going through this? And it was my little secret. Me hiding things, me hiding these feelings. And I used to call them feelings, these auras. They were these little feelings. And it's so unknown about what I believe there's millions of people going through this, not just thousands. Millions of people going through this. And I tell people I'm the life of the party because you'll never catch me drink. I'm very careful. I'm not the guy standing by any speakers. I stay away from certain sounds. I just went to a concert. I love heavy metal. And I went to a System of the Down Korn concert, and I was jumping up and down with my eyes closed. And I had my earplugs in because of the flashing lights. I believe when you educate yourself and you know about different triggers, why can't someone else's trigger happen to you? Because your seizures evolve, the brain evolves. So if the brain evolves, why can't the seizures evolve with it? I see a comment here.
Yeah, there's a question too. That's an interesting question.
Yes, from Phillips. Can certain foods, Mr. Phillips, can certain foods or activities cause seizures? Certain foods, I believe 100% can cause seizures. Activities, I believe, definitely activities. At one point I was a gym rat, and running on that treadmill and getting off that treadmill, you have to stay hydrated. Dehydration can definitely cause a seizure. And I know about staying hydrated because I love coffee. And stay hydrated. And whatever you eat, when I do food shopping, compras, that's in Spanish, food shopping, I read everything in the back. Sometimes my son, he's like, Papi, we're going to go, let's just grab, sometimes food shopping for me takes 2 hours because I'm reading everything. And what I don't understand, I'm looking it up. So yes, food can cause seizures. Oh, you missed a great concert. That was one of the best concerts in the world. I don't have to go to any more concerts anymore. That's it. I see Metallica, Korn, System of the Down. It's like, that was the best concert I've ever seen in my life. And when I left that concert, I said to myself, thank you, God, I didn't have a seizure. Thank you. That's the first thing. I'm very thankful. Very thankful.
It's you have me checking myself because, and I'm not going to get mad at myself because my first initial reaction is to worry about my kids. I have my son who has refractory epilepsy. He's 23 now. He's doing great, by the grace of God. Interestingly, the more we've become advocates for epilepsy, the more things just kind of got better. There was a time that working out was a trigger for him because when you work out, your body gets overheated, your pulse and your levels start to increase. And that would be a trigger for him. Now he works out all the time. He's fit. He lost weight. I don't know if that had something to do with helping, his seizures. He still has, but it's nothing like before. And he's starting to, learn his own body. That 20-something age is very tricky, especially for a young male. But for myself, I have epilepsy. And flashing lights I should have mentioned that before. That's still a trigger for me. As I said before, I'm a recording artist. And there were times I learned this the hard way. I cannot perform in a place that has stage lights. Unless they're turning them off or dimming them, I can't. Even at work, they had to accommodate my situation. I can't work in certain spots in my job because the lights are so bright. And it used to be just flashing lights. Now it's bright lights. Sometimes I'll wear sunglasses inside. I was just struggling with that this morning, trying to find the lighting here. I'm like, okay, I need to put on sunglasses, but luckily I didn't have to. But it's a trigger for me. And I have not seen a neurologist in a very long time. I know I'm having seizure activity. The last time I saw a neurologist, um, I had an EEG. And for those who don't know, an EEG is where they put these kind of sticker-like electrodes with wires all over your brain, and these are detecting how much seizure activity you're having, how much time in between the seizure activity, and certain parts of the brain of where the seizures are coming from. Alejandro, yours were coming from your temporal lobe, in situations with people with epilepsy that have generalized seizures or epilepsy, excuse me, or refractory epilepsy, it's the whole brain. There's no one particular spot, which is why they're not candidates for certain surgery, because they can't remove your whole brain. So this session is really part of the reason I haven't seen a neurologist is because Florida is a real challenge with healthcare. And I'm still battling it. I miss New York for that reason. New York healthcare is way better than out here. But now it just has me thinking I need to be more proactive. I'm the kind of person that's always trying to make sure everybody else is good before myself. And I know I need to get my epilepsy looked into, and because I feel it, I feel my eyelid has been twitching for months and it's twitching more and more. And that's a sign that there's seizure activity going on. So this is actually for myself very enlightening on just taking care of yourself. The spiritual part is really important, and the reinventing is very important, because it's true. Sometimes I know that when I had my last seizure, I was in a really, really nasty situation, and the stress from it, the person that I was around would bring my blood pressure up. And if you bring your blood pressure goes too high, you know how that, that can cause a seizure for someone who has epilepsy. So the most important thing is learning yourself, making the changes. As you said, you are the conductor. There's certain things that you cannot control, but the parts that you do, take control of them and take control of your life. You control who you're around. You control sometimes it's not that people purposely try to bring you down. Sometimes it's just a personality clash.
Yes.
No disrespect, but I can't deal with you. You're who you are. I am who I am. We just don't connect. So I got to keep you over there. And sometimes it's within your own family.
Yes. And one thing with anyone who suffers from epilepsy, when someone stresses us out, and I'm getting better at this, we don't give them a reason. See you later. And that goes with the fight or flight. We either choose to fight or flight. And most of the times with me, unfortunately, it's flight. I'm not trying to deal with this. I'm like, listen, my health comes first. My sanity, my peace of mind, it's amazing. Once you have peace of mind and you start doing what really makes you happy. And for one of the questions I see here, yes, vaping. Oh yeah. I don't realize that's synthetic. You might as well smoke plastic. Someone's having an EEG now, a portable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that before.
The hardest thing about the EEGs is washing the glue out afterwards. Grace, I'm trusting God help us in these areas and challenges. Disease, so much. You have an amazing day too, Martinez.
I wanted to say something in regards to two things. Back to the question of food triggers. Interesting story. For those who have attended my prior sessions, I did a number of sessions with Tara Berry. And how we met was God. It really, I'm not gonna, it's a long story, but we met, and she works very closely with me on advocating for epilepsy. So we realized during one of our sessions that our sons, both of them have epilepsy. And their first seizures happened right after they both had something with spaghetti sauce, which has tomato. Um, so we learned this in the session about, our sons, and we're like, wait a minute. When we got on the phone after the session, we're like, is there a connection? It could be something, with that being a trigger. I don't think it's a cause, but a trigger to their first seizures. Is very interesting. But some people with epilepsy have to go on special diets. The keto diet is a major one that I don't know much about it, but I do know that if that works, the person should go into the hospital, and before going home, make sure that they're reacting okay to that, because it's a traumatic experience on the body when you're completely withdrawing something that's needed. Do you know much about the keto diet, Alejandro?
Yes, I know it's high fats.
Okay, yeah.
And that's
But the body goes through a transition.
Yeah,
so
because
that
that's a
can
lot of
trigger the seizures.
Yeah, and that's a lot of cholesterol, high fats, fatty, like, a lot of steak, chicken, you know, that never, that never did it for me. What did it for me also was cutting the carbs. Cutting the carbs. I used to be almost 300 pounds. I'm 194 now. And it was just, I'm watching what I eat. It's the carbs. I try not to eat, because the older I got, I'm almost touching 50. And now when you think of things like, do I need that cake? Do I, and the stuff that we used to eat, growing up in the Bronx, Little Debbie cakes, they were only a quarter. I used to like scarf those down. All the soda. I don't need those things. My life is coffee, water, straight black coffee. I stay active. Best advice. My father gave me this advice, and he's, I used to laugh when my father used to tell me these things. He says, son, life is like a car. He said, the way that you stay alive, you keep moving. When you buy a car, I don't care if the car is $300,000, you don't drive it and you keep it in that garage, what happens to that car? It dies. You ever notice when somebody retires from work, you throw a party, you come the next day to the break room, you see their picture on the wall. Wow, I just saw him, because he stopped moving. He told his mind, this is it. I always find something to do. I don't buy everything on my shopping list. Gives me another reason to keep moving. Keep the engines going. And that's my secret. That's my, that's what works for me. Stay active. Always find something to do. Life is a walk in the park. When I take my hiking groups out and just a simple walk, at first, people are like, this is insane. But when they see a deer run by, a fox run, it becomes addictive. And it costs nothing. So that's my key. Yes, moderation is the key. But unfortunately for me, I'm a cookie monster. So I can't have cookies in moderation. So I just completely try to stay away from them.
You're good. Being that I'm baking brownies today.
Yeah.
I am a bad influence. Okay, let me see. I just want to read some comments because we're already at close to 8:30. We read that. T. Gibson is in the house, educating and doing it with grace. I am trusting God to help us. Thank you very much, because I'm actually sick. I've been sick the past few days, so this was a real struggle, but I'm very passionate about helping people and making November something. There's awareness for, every month there's awareness for some condition. And you have conditions that and diseases that get more attention than others. Epilepsy does not get any attention, and it's more in our community than we think. Thanks so much for this information. Preach, Alejandro. Let's see. Moderation is okay. You read that. Okay. So I just wanted to give acknowledgement to everyone that if we missed anyone, please, by all means, you know, message in the chat so we can, any questions that you may have. We don't have much time left, but back to the question I have a question for you, Alejandro, but before I do that, I want to say one more thing. When someone asked about certain activities, next week, I am having another guest on this session, and her name is Ali D. Her seizures are triggered by the iPhone. And she actually had, at the first event that she spoke, Alejandro, I think you were there at this event.
Yes.
She actually was having not a convulsion, but it was a certain type of seizure she was having while she was speaking. And she said that there were people in the audience that had iPhones that were recording her, and that's what triggered her seizures. So the past event, I had to make an announcement, which she told me to go ahead and do, to let people know not to use, if they have an iPhone, to not record, because that is one of her triggers. Very interestingly, I had spoke about her on the prior sessions, but she'll be on next week. So I say that to say that every person is so different with what triggers their seizures. You wanted to say something, Alejandro?
Yes.
Florence has her hand raised for quite a long time now.
Okay,
Florence,
perfect. Thank you.
say
Thank
something?
you. Many times we do not connect the dots to the foods we eat. Our bodies were made to function in a certain way, and just say the right foods for us, devoid of all types of chemicals, like a Porsche or any vehicle that requires the right type of fuel. Our bodies require the right type of fuel to function optimally. I commend a lot of what you do. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And what you were saying back to the iPhones, anyone who suffers from epilepsy, how do your phones act? Have you noticed that sometimes your phones freeze and you're wondering what's going on with this phone? Your phones get hot.
Mm-hmm.
What I believe is because of the electrical activity in the brain. Now, Ali D is an amazing woman. She is very, very aware. And I believe anyone who's aware of that they're having seizures, we're extremely aware because we have to be aware, because we're always searching. We're trying to figure out, we're trying to avoid what's going to cause these seizures. And I will never forget this about Ali D. At the last Seize the Cure, I had a button on my shirt. And I was trying to figure out where the back for the button, where did it fall? I'm all the way standing by the stage. She's walking in. She comes up to me and she says, "You lost the back of your button." And I was like, this is amazing. You was aware that you saw that all the way from over there. I was like, wow. And when us who suffer from epilepsy, we are very aware. We see things other people don't see. When I'm at work and I have a tablet and I go to a patient and I'm trying to get the insurance information, and if it's a full registration, all of a sudden the tablet freezes. And I was like, this is only why me? Why me? But it's the electrical activities in the brain. And sometimes you can't say these things because, people are like, what are you talking about? Oh, they'll laugh. So sometimes you won't mention it. But it's very true. I think we're just more sensitive to energy, but we're needed in this world. We're special people. We were given this because we were chosen to handle it. And that's what I believe. So every day I get up, I try to look at it as, this was me. This is for me. I was chosen. It's what I say. I don't talk about it much to certain, to everyone. This is like a platform for me to finally talk about these things. Even sometimes in the last event, I remember there was a neurologist there, and I asked her about the deja vu. She said that's under my pay rate. And I remember she got her boss or the director, and she goes, yes, deja vu is a form of epilepsy. You know, there's so many people going around not knowing.
Yeah. And unfortunately, not just with epilepsy, but just, conditions in general. If you don't know, you don't know. If I did not have my personal situation and what you were saying earlier, Alejandro, when the person got violent after the seizure, if I didn't know anything about seizures and what could happen, I probably would have called the cops too. I'm just being very honest, because you don't know. Let's face it, most people, unless it affects us directly, we don't have that empathy that we would have with something that we can relate to. The thing with epilepsy is when people hear the word epilepsy, they're just thinking about epilepsy. So they're like, well, this doesn't affect me. They don't understand that seizures are the biggest part of epilepsy. And seizures are around us more than we know. Because then what happens is when they dissect from epilepsy down to seizures, they're thinking, well, unless they've seen a convulsion, there's no seizure, which is not true. There are 40 different types of seizures. And children in schools are having them and being misdiagnosed. Parents aren't being told to take their child to a neurologist. They're just diagnosing them with ADHD. Our law enforcement, they have no idea what seizures look like. So they're automatically assuming the worst and handling accordingly as they were trained. Even EMS. I had EMS come one time because my son was having a seizure. I called 911 and he got hurt from it. They were not trained in seizure safety. They don't even know what seizures look like. They're just coming for the call and to make sure the person is medically safe to get them to a hospital. They were not trained. And I learned this from them themselves. So there's a lack of awareness. Some seizures, some people may think that the person's high on drugs.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just, the awareness is so important. And this has become my therapy. This has become my therapy because I've learned so much from other people. And it's just amazing. I like to have people that are coming on these sessions that not only acknowledge what they have, but they're taking control of it, as just like what you've done, taking control of it and teaching other people that you can control your outcome. You can have some form of control. There's certain things you can't, but as you said before, you used to feel disappointed in yourself when you had a seizure. Now, if you had drinks knowing you have seizures, then yeah, you can feel disappointed in yourself because you did something that is a direct effect on your seizures. But if you're doing everything that you can to control your outcome, you're limiting how I say this, you're decreasing the probability of something traumatic and detrimental happening to you, to yourself and somebody else. Because when you have seizures, it's not just about you and your seizure. You're affecting anyone that's around you that has to help you.
Yes. And I made those sacrifices. And when I realized now, is it a sacrifice or is it something that maybe I shouldn't be doing or maybe anyone should be doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need liquor. I don't need these things to feel happy. Only thing I need to feel happy is my health, my family, my sons, making sure that my sons grow up to be a better man than I was. And it's just these changes and the reinventing of myself spiritually, physically, and mentally.
Right.
All these things have worked for me. I actually get up, and sometimes when I'm walking, I'm smiling. And I believe people can see this in me. For example, buying clothes, buying new things, that's a form of depression because
Excuse me.
you feel like you need those things to feel happy. And do we need these things to feel happy? I'm a real simple guy. And all we need to feel happy, and it doesn't cost a dime, it doesn't cost a penny. Believe in yourself. Take care of yourself. What makes one person happy, maybe it's not that makes you happy. It shouldn't be for you. It shouldn't make you happy. It's a lot of things. Everything's a business. You have to remember that everything's a business. It goes into population control. You can't have everyone healthy now. That's the way people think, the hierarchy. But when me growing up, I've never seen so many people in this lifetime actually conscious and taking care of their health. I've never seen that before in all the years of me living. It's a positive thing. And once you start taking care of you, can violent situations cause seizures? Of course, 100%. Anytime you take a blow to your head, your brain shifts. Of course, violent situations can cause seizures. That's why, I live in the Bronx. I'm very careful. Everything to me is strategic. The way I move, where I go, what time I go. I don't even take public transportation. I take the Metro North. It's a more peaceful train, but all of that is to avoid me from having seizures, to get into that situation. So violent situations, 100% can cause seizures. Violent situations raise your blood pressure, gets you angry.
I just want to read these comments because we're about to end and acknowledge who's saying things and asking questions. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. When we detox first and afterwards embrace eating those things that are alive does the body good. Thank you for that. Pearl Marilyn, DJ, little things can mean a lot. Science comes from agriculture, which we're deliberately separated from, especially chemistry and biology. Very true. Thank you for commenting. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. Again, be the best version of yourself is what I aim for. Absolutely. And don't make people responsible for your joy, because that could, especially if it's the wrong person.
Yeah.
Consider nausea in pregnant women as an allergic reaction of the fetus to certain smells and foods. Very good. Very interesting. That's a very interesting way of looking at it and describing it. No, okay. Noelle Phillips that asked about violent situations. No, I meant, can witnessing a violent situation cause seizures? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything that puts stress on the brain and the body can cause seizures. It can even cause a stroke. I mean, you're witnessing something that is a traumatic situation.
Jacqueline.
I can go ahead. I'm sorry.
I came on late. I was given a diagnosis of epilepsy when I had a study done with the electrodes on my head for a week after experiencing brain freeze and seeing flash of lights. There was no issue with my eyes. I experienced deja vu infrequently. I rejected the diagnosis because I needed my driver's license to drive to work. That was in 2017. How do you take control of it when you don't experience the seizures that I know of? Like when that comes with me, I'm just very careful. I'm very strategic, extremely strategic. And even when it's my choice of job, the only thing that I'm a little, daring of is my hiking. Because I came to terms with myself and said, hey, if this is gonna happen, I'll go out, it's gonna be something I love. But how do you take control of it when you don't experience the seizure that I know of? Well, maybe you can answer that.
I could clarify. Let me clarify what I was asking. Like I said, I was diagnosed. They were trying to give me the diagnosis, and I was like, no, no way. I was told that I would lose my driver's license. I had to drive to work at the time. I had no other choice. There's no public transportation or anything like that where I live. So I was like, no, no, that's not happening. No, that's not the case. So I stayed. I worked until 2020. And after the pandemic, because I was a teacher, I was able to retire. So I retired. And that's it. But I still drive and I drive long distances sometimes. I just cut back on the driving a little bit. I still hike. I cut back on that too, but I don't see anything. I don't even see the flashes of light. I don't get the brain freeze anymore. I did take all the electronics out of my room, like the stuff that was near my head, because I thought maybe that was what was causing the spikes in the electricity in my brain, because I had that thing. I had to sleep with it, and I had to push a button every time I felt the brain freeze or whatever. So I didn't think it was accurate. I really thought I should be in a sleep study in a hospital somewhere for them to give me that diagnosis. So I refused it. And I haven't had those experiences that I know of recently in the past 4 or 5 years. So I'm not even sure if it was a correct diagnosis. So I just
How
want to know,
long?
what should I be doing? Like, what should I avoid if I do have it?
Well, like I always tell people, continue to do what works for you. I believe we can. The problem is we never listen to ourselves, and you're listening to yourself right now. And that's very important, that you are listening to yourself and you're learning yourself, you're learning your body. So continue to do what you're doing.
Yeah,
Like,
I thank you for that, because I remember telling my husband about 3 years ago. I said, you know what? I was driving and I kind of lost track of where I was, and I started getting scared. My sister has onset dementia, so it scared me, and I was like, oh my God, where am I? And then I realized that I was on automatic, like I was going to work, and I was going that way, but that's not where I was trying to go. So I've been more conscious, using the GPS less, so I could try to remember and not be not be subject to that. Like I have to depend on it. I don't want to depend on it.
Jacqueline, I would like to speak with you at some point, directly, to get more of an understanding of certain things.
Okay.
So yeah, because I don't have time to go into it here, but I would definitely like to speak with you. At the end, it's going to show my contact information. So you can just, my phone number, you can just text me. That way I know it's you and we can speak further on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I've been keeping that to myself.
No, listen, this is what I'm doing this for. Like, the more we speak, the more understanding we have of how serious this is and how hard it is. Like you said, you had to drive to get to work, and it's a horrible pressure.
But you're doing well. And sometimes, titles are given to people. And sometimes we feel that we're not qualified to help ourselves because we don't have that title of neurologist, doctor. And you're doing well. Your body will always give you the answers. You just figure it out. Sometimes your body will tell you, I want fruits. And sometimes you're like, I'm going to go out and buy some pineapples. And you're like, oh man, I don't know why I want these, but because your body is telling you. You're making all the right moves. All the right moves.
Yeah.
And you will be okay. Remember, speak it into the universe, speak it into yourself, and it will work for you. And this is what works for me. I'm very careful what I say, what I do. And remember, that's why they call it spelling or words, because they're spells. You ever told some family members, oh, I got a great job, or I'm doing something, it's working out for me, all of a sudden it doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it to yourself and continue to do what you're doing. Like I said before, you can see smiles, but you can't see hearts. Continue to do what you do and you will always be okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna read the last two comments and then we're gonna close this out. Again, I'll be here every week with new guests and new testimonies. So make sure you tune in because there's always more information to be given. Pro Maryland, health and education are industry, so profit margins keep us functional as workers and not cured or at our optimum.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Jacqueline, thank you. Thank you, Jacqueline. And healthy, wealthy, and wise. I like when I seek from inside out. God shall direct us when we do not know. Absolutely. God will direct your body and then your body will tell you. So, I want to thank
Healthy and
everyone.
Wise has her hand raised as well. Do you want to say something, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise?
Peace and blessings. I do want to make a verbal contribution to the conversation. Thank you so much for showing up today. You both look beautiful. Both of you are extremely easy to look at. You're beautiful people.
Thank
So
you.
I wanted to share about reading ingredients and things. You know, you brought up Little Debbie's, which is garbage, you know. So no, real talk, because it's so serious, you know. The
Mhm.
children are really suffering because in our ignorance, we fed them things that's not good for them. And so just now I'm at somebody's house and they were making coffee and then their creamer. So I said, well, let's look at the ingredients in the creamer. So what do you think the first ingredients was? So you think it's sugar, yes? No, it was water. The next one is sugar. But then and then the other one was soybean oil. And everyone after that, I couldn't even pronounce. But it sells off the shelf. In the laboratory, they know exactly what to make for us to buy it, for us to ingest it. And we're trying to figure out why we are so sick. I'm asking the community, please read the ingredients of these things that you reach for every day on a regular. I'm not putting down coffee. I'm asking the community to read the ingredients of the things that you eat. So what I've learned is to have that automatic reach for things that are alive. There's no question about what an apple is. It's not a question about that. It's not a question about what an avocado is. So I want to encourage everyone. Let's make those choices that push us forward so we can live this abundant life that God has in store for us. And with that, I'm complete.
Thank you for that. Is there anyone else that would like to share before we close out?
Peace and blessings. This is your sister Latifa.
Good morning.
Here, and I agree with you, brother. We have to know who we are, learn about who we are, pay attention. Don't be around negative people. Don't be around things that cause you pain. And sometimes you don't even know what causes you pain. But when you know the things that keep you in joy, you keep enjoying it and keep sharing that love and accepting that love, because we can't keep the positive to ourselves. Thank you for allowing me to share. May the creator of all continue to bless all of my sisters and brothers, and that we move closer to being who we were created to be. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
You know, when most people...
This is Florence.
Good morning.
Am I being heard?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Am I being heard?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So all I wanted to say is that all of most of what I'm hearing from I really get it, because you really have to be in touch spiritually, or you have to be in touch spiritually, emotionally, and physically with this body, and understand the thoughts that we have, understand the foods that we eat. Like I want to just say that when we have a negative thought, it actually sends negative chemicals out from our brain to the hormones, to the cells, and this is why we are having first effect, even though we think we're sending that thought to.
Okay. I heard what you were breaking in and out. But
Yes, yeah, I heard
I
some things, and I
yeah.
totally agree with you with, the chemicals from the brain
Mm-hmm.
being sent to other parts of your body, a chemical imbalance.
Right.
And
Yes, sorry about that.
No,
it's
no,
in,
no,
Um,
it's okay. It's not your fault.
yes,
and
sorry. It's just that I was saying that we think we don't realize that our thoughts affect like our thoughts are so very important. And that's why, as you said, having the mind of God, having the mind of Christ, we should strive to always like think on the positive things, think on the things that are beautiful, things on the things that are, as the Bible says, because when we have whatever thoughts we have, whether negative or positive, if in the brain, the thoughts are in our mind, the brain sends out the chemicals to suit the thoughts. And then the body, the cells, the cells and the hormones respond to those thoughts. So we are having a negative thought. Maybe we sending it to somebody, we about somebody, but we are first being affected by the negative thoughts because the chemicals are being released in our own body first. So like I'm so happy that for everything that was said, especially the way that Alejandro is handling his situation and the hiking and everything, because our breath, our God is in the breath. God is life within us. God is the life force that moves us. So when we go out there and we breathe deeply and we are in oxygen and all of this, we are in life. And most of these things cannot really have this negative effect on us. And with that, I'm complete.
yes, God bless you. And in epilepsy, it's in the Bible. I forgot one verse, but I know it's Mark and Luke. As the demon seized his body, he foamed at the mouth.
Yeah, yeah,
And people thought it was a possession. No, the child was having a seizure.
yes, yes.
And Jesus, saved him.
Hmm.
So, it's been talked about since biblical times, and it's
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
still around.
yes.
Yeah, that stigma hasn't left, unfortunately.
And this is the reason why it's not talked about much.
Hmm. Yeah,
It's in the Bible.
yeah.
Anything else like other diseases, stuff that people are going through, it's not talked about in the Bible, but there's more to this epilepsy. It's an energy, it's an energy, it's a spiritual thing that we're all going through. The ones who are going through it, the ones who are aware of what they're going through. It's extremely spiritual. And I believe what worked for me, and what helped me cure me, I believe 97% of my epilepsy was my surroundings, thanking the blessings of everything that I have. You don't need $1 million in the bank. All you need is love and your surroundings, nature, what God made. What God made is a blessing. And like I said before, He gave us these things: the mountains, the forests, the oceans, the rivers. That's His house, and He gave it to us to experience it. Thank you for your comments. And It was really a pleasure to hear what you had to say.
Thank you, everyone. We're gonna, close out, and if we can go to the next slide.
Thank you both again for joining us. And Alejandro, please come back. We would love for you to facilitate again or just to be in the community and share your voice. So you're always welcome back. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much. It was an honor. Thank you for giving me this platform.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm sure that it touched someone and helped someone in some way. So please continue to advocate and to share your story. Right.
Yes.
Right. So we're gonna close out now. Tara, is this your slide for your last slide?
Yes, yes. So as you can see, this is where you can send donations. Seize the Cure for Epilepsy is a not-for-profit, and in order for me to continue and grow my programs, I need the support. So even if it's $5, $10, whatever you can do, it helps. We had our last event in June, and I plan to do at least 3 events per year, as well as programs that I'm trying to grow. So the support is needed. As you can see, I took the word epilepsy, and I just want to read this because this is very important. And each letter in the word epilepsy signifies what we're about. So E is for educate, P is for persevere, I is for inspire, L is for love, E is for enlighten, P is for prosper, S is for support, and Y is for youth. I want to grow on the part where I'm involving more youth. There is juvenile epilepsy, and our programs also include music and the performing arts, which the youth is getting more involved as well. So here's where you can send either PayPal, Zelle, or Cash App just to show support and give towards our programs. You can go to the next slide. Here we have my contact information. There's always a way for you to support, not just financial donations, but just to be a part of the movement. That's my contact information. You have my phone number, Facebook, Seize the Cure, Instagram at Seize the Cure, and then my email is seizethecure4epilepsy@gmail.com. And then I also have my website, www.seizethecure4epilepsy.com. So please reach out if you have any questions, if you want to speak your story and be a part of, spreading awareness, reach out to me. I need all the support.
Hello, this is my contact information, my cell number, my hiking club on Facebook, Serenity Hiking Club. I give reviews on hikes near you. You can send me a message on what hikes can I do in my area. I also post hikes that I will be doing with groups, moderate hikes.
Lost audio, Alejandro.
Can you hear me?
Now we do, yeah.
Yes. So just follow my page, Serenity Hiking Club. You can email me for current hikes and follow me in a Serenity Hiking Club and finding true serenity with life. God bless.
I would like to discuss about love offerings and donations that the WU community can do for this particular session. The code that you can use for today's session would be #1491, capital TG. You can use Zelle or QuickPay at Spirit of Women Leadership Development at gmail.com, or you can use Cash App, $ Spirit of a Woman. You can use any of the platforms for your love offerings and donations for this particular session, or you could enroll in the monthly automated love offerings. It could be anywhere from $25 to $100, any amount that you would like to donate or you're comfortable donating with. You can do $25 a month, $50 a month, $75 or $100 a month, and this way you can register for the monthly automated love offerings and donations for Wake Up Everybody sessions and this space and this community. This is the information regarding the upcoming Wake Up Everybody sessions on Monday and Tuesday. The Monday session would be facilitated by Professor Marilyn Douglas Jones. The Tuesday session on November 4th would be facilitated by Martin Lisa Malivers. And I would like to extend my gratitude for the Woo Nation, for all the new members and the existing members who make this space alive, where we come to learn, elevate, and ascend. So thank you so very much for your participation, for your presence in this community. To all the existing members and the new ones, we welcome all of you. This is the Wake Up Everybody sessions schedule for Zoom live workshops happening on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. And on Mondays and Wednesdays, we have shorter sessions from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. You can stream live on Facebook as well. You can join the Zoom live workshops, or you can get text alerts or notifications by texting Woo Nation to 74121 for any of the notifications and alerts for Wake Up Everybody sessions and this community. And thank you so very much. Stay in touch. You can register for Wake Up Movement. You can join Facebook pages for private and public, both Woo Community and Woo Nation. The Instagram handle is at Wake Up Everybody Virtual. You can also watch the videos on YouTube with the handle Woo on YouTube. And for any concerns or queries regarding this space, you can email at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. And now I would like to request you all to unmute yourself and give your love shower to Tara and Alejandro. Thank you so very much to both of you
Thank
for
you. Thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Sending
Thank you
love and
so
light
much.
to
Thank you so
you
much
and your
for
family
this.
today.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
so much.
showing up.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you again.
appreciate
This
it.
is very
Truly
important.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Very appreciated.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much, and it was a pleasure. And you can always contact me, and my doors are always open. Thank you, and anything I can do, and follow me on a Serenity Hiking Club, and join me on one of my hikes.
And tune in next week for the next guest who will speak about her journey with epilepsy and what she's doing to advocate.
Looking forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much again for joining us this morning. And like I shared earlier, we are going to leave the space open for you all to get some support, some covering, nourishment following the transition